Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we design our ad page, right? So now from to this position I want to insert this data. So for doing this we have to update it all that our field. So here I updated all that our static field. So now we have to load all that our employee list in particular that area. We have to update it that all that our attendance status, and after that from here I want to insert this data. So for doing this, I have already passed all that our data. So I get that our user type employee data, take that things with this variable, and I pass this our data in our employee attendance, right? So now first of all I want to load all that our employees data. That means here that is our T body, right? So that is our T head and the T body. So after the T body I want to add one of the for each. I think you already know about it. If you want to display that data, you have to use that as a with the for each, right? So now I name it as a for each. So into the for each, and also we have to end this for each. So before this T body, so before this T body, I want to end it. That means the and for each, right? So make that sure you add that and for each. And now from here I pass that our data, that is our variable name, as a employees. So now I can actually use that employees. So I make it as employees as, and also there have one of the serial numbers. So for the reasons here I make it as a key, that is a key variable, and with this key I want to add, I name it as a employee. Okay, that is employee. So that will be as employee. So now with this employee, first of all I want to show that serial number. Okay, serial number will be our key plus, that means the key and then plus, right? That means automatically it will be incremented with a 1. That means the key plus 1. So it will be updated that serial number, and after that there is another one as an employee list. So all that employee should be now loaded. So if you want to load it, so with this employee, right? So with this employee I want to display everything. So with this employee I want to display our name, that means the employee name, so, right? Because I get all the data from our user table, and from to the user table that is our field name for this employee as a name. If you go to our user table, and that is the name, right? So that is the name will be loaded. Perfect. So for the reasons I name it, that will be with this employee, it will be displayed that name. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go there, now refresh it, so all that employee should be now loaded. Yeah, you can see all that employee is now perfectly loaded. And better I want to make it as a center. Okay, so that is, then it should be better. So that is in our tier, that means that is our tier. So into this tier area I want to update this tier. So this tier I put one of the class as a text center. Okay, I make that test center, then everything will be into the center position. Now click the save all, and now refresh it. Yeah, you can see everything is down to the center. So now that is actually looking great. So from here, that is all that our employees now successfully loaded. So right now I want to take this attendance. Okay, so into the take this attendance, if you want to add, and also here we have to insert that multiple attendance, that means multiple user data at a time. So for the reasons here I take one of the fields, so that is our employee attendance, that is our employee ID, right? So now here we have to also pass one of the hidden field, as I told you before. So now I show you that is our tier. So into the tier area I want to take one of the ID. Okay, I take one of the ID and I just make it as a dev, our dev ID. Okay, into the dev area I want to pass our employee ID. So that is our employee. So with this employee I want to use our employee, means with this employee I want to use that user ID, right? So that is our ID, because I passed that data from our user. So into the user ID here also we have to update it, right? And then I just simply pass it, and after that I want to add one of the hidden field, that means the hidden input field. Input type will be as a hidden. Because of all, from here we have to also pass all that multiple that means the employee ID, right? So that is our employee ID. So now I want to name it. I name it as per our database name. So that is our employee ID. So this employee ID will be as a multiple data we have to add, because I take all that attendance, that means all that employee attendance at a time. So that is a multiple one. So when you use that multiple one, I just pass one of the empty array, right? And also I want to pass that value. From to the value I want to pass our user ID. that means with that employee user ID. So I take that things with this variable, and here that will be the same, that means this employee ID actually. So I pass it the user ID. Okay, I hope it's very much clear to you, friends. So make that sure you add it, because with this we have to actually pass all that our present, leave, off, send all the data to this employee, because that is actually the interconnected, and that is all loaded will be the same. Here we don't need to do anything, and only we have to update it this present, leave, and the absent condition. So here if you want to update it, so that is our field name, we have to update. Our name is, if you go, our name is as attendance status, right? So now I copy it, so that will be our name. I name it as the attendance. Okay, attendance status with the our key. That means here also we have to pass that our key, that means the serial number. So I want to pass this key. Okay, that means this key. So I simply pass it. Perfect. So that is our name. I pass it because this will be as a 1, this will be as a 2, and this will be as a 3. So this type of one of the ID automatically it will be get. So I pass it, and then here I also want to add another value. Okay, I add that value, and value will be our I pass it for the present, that will be as a present value. Okay, that will be as a present value. Better I want to put little bit into the left side. Okay, that is our better. So that is our type will be as a radio type. Value I make it as a present. That means when this user select it as a this button, that is radio button, that will be actually insert this data as a present. Okay, so that is our attendance with this key, and also here I want to pass that same key. I want to pass that same key in particular that position. So I name it with the present. Okay, with this present I want to pass our this key. So I simply pass this key. So that will be for our present value. Okay, and also you can update it that your ID. So right now there is a default one. So now I pass it on here, and then it's not needed, but I just simply add it. Okay, laterally if you add some of the class, I actually planning to create, I want to make it a little bit actually locative. So here if you want to use some of the JavaScript, so with this JavaScript you can actually make it. So if I get some of the time, I will also share that things with you. So that is actually the design option, but I want to focus on the main core functionality, how can take this attendance for this employee. So that is our ID. Perfect, there is a present. So now I want to do the same things for our leave. So for the leave I want to copy it, there is a name. Our name will be as the same, that is our another key, and in front of the key I want to pass that as a leave. That means our value I want to add that value. Our value will be for this leave, that is a leave. Okay, and that is the same, I copy it, that will be as a leave. Okay, and that will be as a leave key. So that will be as a leave key. Perfect. And also here into the ID area I pass the same, that is a leave and then key. Okay, and also there is another one, I copy it, so that is for the absent, that is for the absent value. So our value will be the same, our value will be as a absent, and then here I want to pass it the same name, that is a different actually, only that will be as absent, right? That will be as absent. So also to pass these things to our ID, so our ID will be this. Perfect. So that's all you have to do. Okay, so now if you click as a save all, now let's check this out. If you now go there, click as a refresh. Yes, you can see by default that is our present is selected, because I have also make it as a checked, right? You can see I have checked it for the input this field as a present. So now it's actually checked. So now for this employee you can make it as a leave, for this employee you can make it as a absent, for this two of this you can make it as a present, leave, absent, whatever you choose. Only one checkbox is available, right? So that is the perfect. So here I want to actually add this type of things, and also from here I pass one of the input field. So I pass one of the hidden field as a employee ID. So with this employee ID we'll actually get all that our ID data. Perfect. So now that is actually our table, and after the table that is one of the form as a submit form, and now we have to insert this data. So that is our form. If you go, so that is our attendance, and you can see that is our form. So form is that post method and the action. So I want to make this as a store. Okay, store attendance or employee attendance. Okay, store employee and then attendance. Okay, so that will be our store method. So that means restore route. So now we have to create this route for store all that our data. Okay, so from here there is an employee ID. I pass it. I pass that our date, right? So they have also the date. So here there is, I've named that time name as a date. Perfect. So now I want to create this route. I create this route. Now go to our web route and I copy it. And here I paste it. That will be obviously one of the post method. And it is a post method. I name this as a store employee attendance. I copy it. So that will be as a store employee attendance. So I updated that attendance employee store, and then in our employee attendance controller I want to create one of the method as a attendance store. Okay, that will be our method. Now we have to create this method in our employee attendance controller. Now go to our employee attendance controller. Here after this I make it as a public and then function and then our method, right? So that will be our method. Perfect. So now we have to create this method, and from here we have to insert all that our data. Okay, from here we have to insert that appropriate this date, all that present for this employee. So how can do that work? Better I want to continue this process. In our next video we'll work for our this method. Okay, so thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.